Our movie opens with a young man named Joel who is about 3 years old and finds himself on a college admission test. Days late for. In actuality, he has little chance of passing the exam and enrolling in college. Joel's pals make fun of his tale of seduction involving the babysitter for the neighbor during a poker game. Joel tells his buddies the truth about her if he had urged them to have with her. Joel tells Miles the truth about the babysitter before his buddy departs, acknowledging that the circumstances weren't ideal or right for him to do so. Miles believes that he needs to take a chance and do it at his home. Unrelated to it, his parents take a brief trip. Joel nods in agreement when Miles suggests leaving Joel alone the following day as he drops his folks off at the airport for their vacation. He begins his day without his parents by consuming wine, enjoying food, playing music on his father's bass, and dancing while listening to old-time rock and roll by Bob Seger. Joel and Barry's task is to profit from the workshop. Glenn visits Joel's home with his girlfriend in order to utilize room for but Joel is initially hesitant and finally agrees. Joel and Barry take out the Porsche at night while hoping to win over the ladies and enjoy the race the next day. On Joel's behalf, Miles makes a call to Jackie, a prostitute. When his parents are away against Joel's desires, Miles gives a with Joel's name and address. Joel panics, but later a black prostitute named Jackie arrives, so for Miles, that's the perfect moment for Joel to have fun. He claims to not be Joel and says he'll be back to phone Joel for her. He contacts Miles and asks him to come to get rid of her since he appears to be terrified. Miles is amused but won't arrive. Joel gives her money so she may go, but she doesn't. She provides him with the contact information for Lana, another That night, he is unable to sleep and reluctantly calls Lana under the name Ralph to beg for her services. She tells him to ask for Lana since that is what he wants and because every white lad off the lake wants her. They spend the entire night having after he gives her his address and instructs her to come to find him. It turns out she is a lovely blonde woman. The following morning, Lana asks Joel to give her his However, he is unable to pay her $300 since he is in need of the money. She appears dissatisfied when she sees that he goes to the bank to withdraw the money. Cash from his parents. Lana and his mother's pricey Steuben glass egg are both missing when he gets back. As a result of a tip from Jackie, Joel and Miles locate Lana at the Drake Hotel, where she generally receives the respect she is due. She notices him and understands that Joel will only have time to approach her outdoors if he simultaneously searches for her. Lana is coming. Joel approaches her and offers to give her a lift in the car, but she begs him to go since they need to talk about the obstinate egg. Guido, Lana's pimp, approaches the vehicle and tells her to exit. When Guido draws a revolver, Joel accelerates away, and when Guido follows them in a car, Joel successfully eludes Guido thanks to his skillful driving. His mother calls him the next morning and reminds him that she will be coming home on Saturday. While making breakfast for Joel, Lana discusses her debt to Guido and her hospitalization due to stress. She gets locked out of her apartment by Guido, who then begs her to go from his residence since he has to leave for school. Before he leaves, Joel asks her to return the glass egg, but she is too persuasive after hearing what they did the night before. He responds with a smile that it was a wonderful experience. He permits Lana to stay in his "don't take anything" is the only commandment in the house while he is at school, and he's going to the cops right away if he notices anything missing. Glenn tells him that he didn't have with Lana, but Glenn is skeptical since his buddies have arrived and he sees Miles and Glenn outside his house. Glenn recently had with Lana's friend Vicky. When Vicky tries to pay him for the services she provided to Glenn, he rejects her and throws both of them out of the house. As they leave his house, after they both depart, they run into Guido in Joel's front yard and get into a fight. Lana yells to Guido that she now works for Joel before sprinting back inside his home and Joel confronting Guido outside. He agrees to let Lana and Vicky remain for one night at dinner time. She finds Joel, who is too preoccupied to focus on studying, and he talks to Lana about a workshop on free entrepreneurship while working on his school business project. He and a friend try to advertise a product they've created, but they haven't yet made any money. Lana has thought of bringing Joel's friends and her friends together to create some real money for their workshop's mission. She wants to help him and they would make a fortune together, but it appears that Joel is uncertain of her plan. The Porsche rolls down the hill as the argument continues, and despite Joel's valiant efforts to halt it, the pier collapses and the automobile sinks into a lake. Lana accidentally knocks the Porsche out of gear while grabbing her pocketbook. When Joel brings the heavily damaged Porsche to a repair shop, he is dismayed to find how much restoring it would cost. He is conscious of his father's impending murder. He hugs Lana and starts crying when they first meet. Later, they decide to transform his parents' home into a brothel for the evening. His father's automobile will be fixed thanks to Joel's portion of the profits. He accepts her concept, and they begin to purchase the supplies needed to establish their business. With the help of his workshop buddy Barry, Lana is engaged in the dangerous business of offering lady services. Barry is in charge of the production. Joel, meantime, focuses on the market where he may make money by employing a woman's service in his place. The celebration is a big success. His dangerous business is growing, and the house is crowded with Joel's friends, students, and coworkers. Bill, a Princeton recruiter, decides to interview Joel that evening for a spot at the university. He attends at his father's request, and the interview is interrupted frequently as it starts. Joel states that he plans to major in business. Bill is not impressed by his resume. Joel responds, "Sometimes you gotta say what the f***," and gives up on his dream of attending an Ivy League school. Afterward, he speaks with Lana in a manner reminiscent of an Illinois campus setting. He nailed it and ended up with $8,000 for the evening. Lana tells Joel to be patient and wait for the train to empty so they may make as they pass the train after the party. And when the train is empty, they both start their engines. With his money, he can easily cover the cost of the repair before picking up the Porsche. Joel finds his house bare of all of its staff after picking up the Porsche. Lana Guido responds when he attempts to phone her by saying that he has promised to let Joel purchase back his stuff. His parents are on their way home, so he asks him to return all the furnishings. He bargains with Guido and pays for everything himself. He returns the obstinate glass egg his mother gave him as well. Joel and Barry scramble to return everything to the house his parents find when they get home. Sadly, his mother discovers a fracture in her glass egg with everything in its proper position. Joel receives a reprimand and is compelled to purchase a replacement egg. She is disappointed with him and believes he ought to reimburse her for what she gave him. Later, Joel's father congratulates him, saying that the interviewer had been extremely favorable and that he would be admitted to Princeton. He's really proud of him. Joel and Lana take a date night stroll through a park. They talk about the future, and she tells him that she wants to keep seeing him since, in the end, despite all the risks he took, he succeeded. This is how our movie ends. Tell us in the comments how you felt about this movie recap. See you in the following movie recap.